Hello everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Welcome to a first of series of reviews that I was really excited to finally bring to everybody. I mean, when it comes to all the films that I have seen, there is no series of film that makes me more excited, makes me feel young again, like the great saga that is Star Wars. And while I have started to review all of the Harry Potter films, have already reviewed all the Lord of the Rings films, and now finally dedicating some episodes of a new segment on my channel called Fandom Feature to showcase my love for some of the greatest films and film series of all time, it is only appropriate that I give you guys a true series of individual reviews for probably one of the most landmarks, if not the greatest landmark achievement in all of film for science fiction and fantasy, and that, of course, is George Lucas's brainchild, for better or for worse these days, Star Wars. Welcome to the great Star Wars Throwback Project. So, you guys saw the trailers. I had planned for the next 3 years to review 2 of the 6 films from The Phantom Menace all the way to Return of the Jedi, and yes, they will be done in chronological order of the story, not in chronological order of the series in which the films were released, because I like to go from beginning to the end in the story. So of course today, we're going to be talking about one of the not-so-favorites in the Star Wars saga for many a Star Wars fan, and that of course is 1999's The Phantom Menace, starring Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman, Jake Lloyd, Ian McDiarmid, Ray Park, Anthony Daniels, Samuel L. Jackson, Frank Oz, and Kenny Baker once again as R2-D2. So, we begin where all Star Wars fans have been waiting to see. George Lucas had told everybody that he had written a backstory. He was going to finally show us how Luke's father became Darth Vader. And if you haven't seen these movies, there will be spoilers in these videos, but shame on you if you haven't, and I don't have any guilt in giving anything away because you should have seen these films a long time ago. So, we finally got the trailers in '98, we were so excited for May of 1999, and then we finally got Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, the story of an interesting development in the Galactic Republic, and 2 Jedi Knights named Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn are sent to settle a dispute between the Trade Federation as well as the planet of Naboo, which is run by a Queen Amidala. And they encounter a lot of trials and tribulations because they don't understand why this is all going on, and on their way home, after an escape, they have to stumble and get stranded on a planet called Tatooine, a remote desert world, and all of a sudden, they find a great disturbance in the Force, as there is something out there that is very, very strong. And they discover a boy named Anakin Skywalker, and Qui-Gon Jinn believes that this young boy can not only be a very powerful Jedi Knight, but he may be the one to fulfill a long-standing prophecy in the world of the Jedi and bring an end to their mortal enemies, the Sith. So that sounds great, right? But unfortunately, it didn't translate so great onto screen. Granted, it's a fun film. If there is one thing that I will say that is this film's saving grace is the fact that it is fun. It's got amazing space battles, it's got the legendary pod race, it's got some funny moments, and to some, maybe not so funny moments, but that is another story that we'll tackle in just a couple of minutes. But I have fun with The Phantom Menace, but after watching it again for the very first time in a couple of years, I can definitely see now where a lot of people don't really care much for this film, as a matter of fact, flat out loathe it. George Lucas, I will say, is fantastic at story writing, but he is not good with directing and writing dialogue. The script was horrible, and the actors could only squeeze as much goodness out of it as they possibly could. It literally was like trying to wring blood from a stone. Natalie Portman is a fantastic actress. So are Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson. But they just did everything that they could, and they just didn't really come as strong as they were supposed to. I will say, though, that Qui-Gon Qui-Gon Jinn, played by Liam Neeson, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, played by Ewan McGregor, as well to another extent, even though he's not so predominant in the film, when we see the Jedi Council for the first time, we have Samuel L. Jackson playing Mace Windu, a strong Jedi, and even Frank Oz voicing Yoda again. They were definitely the stronger points, but we really didn't have much to really work with those other two Jedis. We also had Ray Park, who plays everybody's favorite Sith apprentice, Darth Maul, just because of the fact that he says very little and does so much in regards to his martial arts. But other than that, there's really not much great to show in regards to this film. I also feel terrible for Jake Lloyd, who portrays Anakin Skywalker. I mean, Darth Vader is a legendary character in the world of science fiction and fantasy film, and he has been trashed for years for portraying this young character. But again, it's not his fault. It's not like he had much to work with, and I feel that if this was actually a better script with better dialogue, he wouldn't have been trashed in his future career, because no one ever picked him up to do another project. He basically fell by the wayside, and there are still so many angry fans that just hate this kid for all the wrong reasons, and I have to say that that is wrong. Now, a lot of people will say that the worst part of this film is Jar Jar Binks, who is voiced by Ahmed Best. Granted, it was a landmark achievement along with a lot of the rest of the CGI effects in this film, because this was one of the very first digital characters. This is a character that is entirely CGI, and to a certain extent, he looks real. Throw in another character like Watto, throw in an all-digital Jabba the Hutt, and a whole bunch of artificially created robots who are not even there amongst the actors. These are all CGI. And to a certain extent, that's a great thing, but also a bad thing, because too much CGI and not enough actual humans portraying the characters. There are also some very interesting Easter eggs in this film, especially when you see the Galactic Senate for the very first time, also seeing Coruscant for the very first time, which is absolutely beautiful. That was something that a lot of us fans were really waiting for, especially because of the fact that if you had read Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire, you would have gotten Coruscant for the very first time. So to see it a planet that is one big city is great. The score is also a plus. John Williams comes back, gives us one of the greatest songs in the Star Wars library in Duel of the Fates, along with a great lightsaber battle between two Jedi and a Sith. I mean, there are definitely some highlights to be had, but the dialogue is terrible, everybody. Nobody's able to deliver anything great in regards to the dialogue. Everybody hates almost everything that comes out of these people's mouths, or CGI characters' mouths, if you will, and while that is all cringeworthy, it's sort of somewhere in the middle for me, because you have the terrible script and dialogue, but you have so much fun with the CGI effects and all the awesome stuff that comes in regards to the action and the adventure. So, to a certain extent, now that I've seen it again, I will probably say that this one just gets there in the middle of the road. It's not the worst Star Wars film for me. I'm gonna say that right now. It is not, because I still have tons of fun, especially when it comes to the pod race. And I will say that if you are a Star Wars purist, this is still something that is important to see, important to have, because it's Star Wars. And whether it's good or bad, I think that every piece of the Star Wars story is worthy of being in your collection. That's why I have it. That's why I saw it 4 times in theaters, and that is still my personal record for most times going to a theater to see a single film. And I am going to give Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, 2.5 stars out of 4. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I am looking forward to continuing the great Star Wars Throwback project, and I will be coming back to you guys in Christmas, where we tackle Attack of the Clones. But for now, please leave your comments in the box below. Let's talk about The Phantom Menace, good, bad, or indifferent, and I will see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.